Now we have a guest in the studio. Let's hit it.
So, kick out the jams, kick up the soul, pour another glass of that rock and roll, turn up the band, find the hole, gonna lose control tonight.
All right, Annie Frey joining us from the Annie Frey Show. That always makes me want to stamp my foot when I hear that music. Why is that?
People will whistle it around the station after they've heard it. It's catchy.
It is kind of
I like
catchy.
it.
Who is it?
Elle King, is that what her name is?
Elle King.
Yeah,
that's good.
She is
Rob Schneider's
daughter.
I think she's.
Wow.
I think she,
And she does. I don't think she looks anything like him.
No.
She's gorgeous.
the making copies guy. Yeah.
Yeah, making
how I
the
know.
copies.
Making the
funny.
copies.
Yeah. Well, all those movie stars, who maybe aren't be knocked down beautiful to begin with, but they marry supermodels. They end up producing some
Attractive,
beautiful
human
children.
beings. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to kind of hedge your bets sometimes there, I think.
Yeah.
Annie, great to have you in here.
Thanks.
Annie's kind of had a series going. You might have heard some of it running on our air. Annie, Get Your Gun. You've been going through training for concealed carry eventually, right?
Yes.
But in the meantime, learning more about educating yourself on guns so that you could select one, which you now have.
Yes, I've always been a Second Amendment supporter, but I haven't exactly exercised my Second Amendment rights as much as a lot of the other people on the station or who listen to the station have. But through working downtown St. Louis for over 8 years now, and from being,
Carjacked.
yeah, that happened. I've got a long story of close calls.
Right.
And it's, I've got 3 kids, I've got a family, and I've got myself to protect, and I just decided it was time to take some responsibility in protecting myself, and I went through the whole process of walking into the store. The folks at Southern Armory were awesome, and we partnered with them and with U.S. Law Shield, who is a really cool, they offer a really cool service to gun owners, people who want to conceal and carry.
Yeah, I had them on the show one time.
Yeah, a lot of really good legal expertise that I told when I walked into the store. I said, I'm going to ask all what seem to be stupid questions to me, but this is not like I'm picking out a couch. This is something I need to know all the answers to. And it's been a really cool experience. You can go to 971talk.com/Annie and see a whole bunch of the videos that we've put up there. It's
big question, as in, if I shoot somebody and they live, am I going to be in trouble?
Yeah.
And that's what the Law Shield guys were talking about when they were in here. They're like, listen, you call a lawyer, that doesn't mean they know anything about defending the Second Amendment or your stand your ground laws, or whichever, depending on which state you're in. I mean, the one thing they kind of bring to the table is they have expertise in that area, and you've got somebody you can talk to if you want to.
Yeah, and they will encourage you to obviously go through all of the training and practicing and everything like that. Those are all things that I am working on right now. I got myself a Smith & Wesson Shield 40 and am learning to feel comfortable with it, which is I like to skeet shoot. I've shot shotguns, but it's a whole different animal. So the practice is definitely something I'm trying to work on right now, but just taking responsibility for my own protection and not hoping that I get lucky the next time is it's important.
I am so impressed. I told you this the other day. I'm so impressed you went with the 40 because I find it, and I obviously don't.
That wasn't
I haven't
even
done,
on purpose.
I haven't done a wide-ranging survey of this, but I think a lot of women prefer maybe a smaller round, like a 380 or a 9mm, and I love it that you went with the big one. The Van Stopper.
I fired maybe 8 or 9 different ones, including some pistols, and I felt comfortable with that one. And you can see these videos at 971talk.com/Annie. It was a humbling experience. It's a very powerful thing, and you have to take it very seriously. And so I wanted to kind of document that process of being a newbie and showing all the other moms out there. I'm 33 years old, and I got 3 young kids, and I work in downtown St. Louis, and I need to protect me too. I can't rely on somebody else to show up or be there when I need them. I need to be able to do it myself.
It's a great message, and I appreciate that. The reason I bring that up, and I wanted people to know what you'd gone through, is I've had discussions with my folks out at the range who support this program, the Range St. Louis West, and John's telling me, we kind of thought that we've sold the heck out of guns the last few years. I mean, Barack Obama was the top gun salesman of all time, and Hillary Clinton would have taken over that mantle had she won. But the belief was after Trump got elected, the sense of urgency that you need to get this or you need to get that, because when these new people come in, they may try to limit your access to it, kind of went away, and they believed that gun sales might drop. But that's not what's been going on. I mean, I was looking at some estimates the other day, and the month of April is probably going to beat sales for the month of April a year ago.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It'll be interesting to see how that pans out over the course of time, if it continues to ebb and flow. But people do need to be very educated on their Second Amendment rights, and you know, the restrictions or the fear that has been put out there in the past with previous administrations, that might go away, but maybe there'll be some excitement that replaces that fear,
right,
and encourages people to, you know, take it upon themselves to go check out what your local gun store, you know, the guys from the range, their show is right after mine on Saturdays.
Right, yes.
So we're 5 to 7 on Saturdays, and they take over when I'm done. But they offer a great service. I know they also do a ladies' night.
Girls
or
just want to have guns.
Girls, yeah, I knew
Girls just want to have guns.
Yeah, so
and they serve wine afterwards.
After.
Like they
And
shoot
then
first,
we
and then you
want
go
to have
drink.
wine.
yes, exactly.
That's great. Yeah, I was dumbfounded by that. I really kind of figured that people wouldn't be buying as many, but you know, they had 623,000 background checks on handguns and 376,000 background checks on long guns throughout the month of April, according to federal data.
It might be an indicator, too, of the times. I mean, the world that we're living in right now is getting a little more tense. There's a little more anxiety out there. And also, I mean, just think about in the last week, the flurry of activity we've had with violence in our own borders. It's important to be able to protect yourself. That's why I wanted to do this in the first place. And it just so happens that working here at a radio station, it was an opportunity to document that. But we need to be aware of our surroundings, and we need to take responsibility for ourselves. And it's, for me, I don't like to put myself in positions where I feel intelligently inadequate.
Okay.
and I don't want to feel stupid going into situations, not knowing what questions to ask when I'm buying a gun, or, you know, the first time they handed me one, I was like, you're going to have to put my hand on this gun the way it's supposed to be, because I just don't know anything.
One of the big stories that's going to be on the news tonight, and I always refer to the evening news, although news is a 24-hour cycle now, we know that, is the fact that in this Alton Sterling case, the feds have announced they're not going to press charges. The family's acting like the Department of Justice let them down. Mm-hmm. They also seem to be suggesting that it was the change in administrations that led to that. And I guess that would beg the question, either one or the other is doing something wrong then, because if you believe the Obama administration was going to bring charges because, and the Trump administration didn't because, what's the difference? I mean, they wanted charges in the Ferguson case, and they didn't get them from the feds, and they didn't get them locally, and they still are convinced that the cop did something wrong. So I'm not sure, no matter what had happened, that the Alton Sterling case would have ended well, and there could still be state charges.
Well, the problem is that the previous administration, to me, seemed to be more interested in the social justice part of it than the actual justice. And that's not to say that any one of these people who have been in one part of these unfortunate circumstances deserve to die or should have died, and it's tragic that it happened. But you can't use those scenarios to make a point. That you have to look at the circumstances, you have to look at the facts, right, and you have to act upon those facts. And if in any of these situations, it's unfortunate that you know, for somebody like the Obama administration or Eric Holder or Loretta Lynch, whoever, yes, it's an opportunity to make a social statement, but it's not the right place. It's not the right time. And you cannot do that to our law enforcement just to make that social justice point.
This is what they did differently and wrongly in this case. The family got a phone call from a Washington Post reporter or New York Times reporter informing them, broke the news to them from this newspaper reporter that the feds weren't going to press charges. The federal government had not reached out to them yet from the DOJ, and they're angry. They are angry. So that'll be the big story tonight. Overnight, 2 police officers were shot in Chicago. And the only reason I bring that up is how it happened. I want you to listen to this. This is the bite from the Chicago police chief. This is a new guy, the new chief. He really seems like a reasonable guy. But I think he missed an opportunity in this soundbite. Listen.
The officers were conducting a follow-up investigation to a previous incident. when two cars pulled alongside of him and began firing indiscriminately at him. The officers were able to return fire, and like I said, one was hitting the back, one was hitting the arm and the hip. But this just is another example of how dangerous this job is. And I think people take it for granted that when police officers come to work every day, they put their lives on the line every single day they get in that car.
He's right, but what's unusual about this case wasn't the police chasing someone. They had somebody pulled over, and a car pulled up and opened fire on two armed police officers standing there investigating another crime. That is bold.
In Chicago, we call that Monday.
I guess so.
Yeah.
But the sad part about that is that the police officer, he wasn't shocked at the fact that they had the audacity to open fire on two police officers out of a car window by just simply pulling up next to him like a drive-by shooting. That should bring the entire police force of Chicago down on the head of whoever these two jerks are that opened fire on them.
Absolutely. If you want to identify bigotry or any type of ism that is out there, the fact that isn't the lead story, the fact that this is happening in our America. This isn't happening overseas. This isn't happening in North Korea or Russia or, Syria or Iran. This is happening in Chicago. And this is the type of society that has been created by this social justice movement that has been allowed to take place in the previous administration because there is a division that has been furthered by very powerful people to create this type of angst between law enforcement and the public or whoever is in this public. And now we have a circumstance where it's just in passing. I hadn't even heard that story.
And a lack of law and order. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, and willingness to live with a lack of law and order.
And you have Hillary Clinton, who was at that women's forum yesterday, who cited, this is kind of off topic, but it's not. She cited that she's part of the resistance.
Oh, yeah.
She's part of the resistance, and that is the resistance, and that is why she lost the election.
Yeah. In fact, I think I thought we pulled that. Thought we pulled that bite with Hillary talking about being part of the resistance. I don't know, but I guess maybe I didn't. I saw it earlier. It's very true. The thing she wanted to focus on yesterday was making sure that the Trump administration focuses on women's rights.
Women's rights are people's rights.
That's what she picked out as her issue to talk about yesterday, and she wonders why she didn't get elected.
It's everybody's fault but her own.
No, but you do know that she's a grandma, right? She mentioned that again.
Yes, I am a woman. I'm a mother. I'm a grandmother. And much to the surprise of many when I answer, I am a human being.
Chicken crap.
Is that from the actual conference?
That's from the conference yesterday. That's what she said. Oh. And I meant to go find the bite where she goes, I'm just a grandma with a brain. But I couldn't find it. So, sorry. I've got it somewhere.
It's unreal. Have you ever heard a man be like, and I'm a grandpa?
No.
Why would you have to say that? It doesn't matter. She thinks that's a qualification.
Yeah, she did all along through the whole election. Hey, it's my turn.
She was wrong.
I'm a grandma. Annie Frey, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
We will tune in Saturday 5 to 7 here on FM News Talk 97.1. We'll get to a